TV Plus.
6:80 News Time. 2 o'clock.
Number one for breaking news, traffic, and weather. 680 News Radio, Toronto.
Good afternoon. This is Thursday, January 30th. I'm Irene Trucklet, and I'm Sarah Parrott. Here's what's making news this hour.
A mid-air crash over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. We don't believe there are any survivors. The search and rescue effort has now become a recovery mission.
Day 2 of the Ontario election campaign. Doug Ford is keeping up his anti-Trump tariff battle cry, while his competition accuses him of dropping the ball by calling an early vote.
The federal industry minister gives hints of some retaliation measures if Canada's hit with U.S. tariffs, as the NDP demands Parliament be recalled to pass supports for workers.
The big reveal, the captains announced for the Four Nations face-off, and the Scepters roll east to Montreal for a meeting with the Victoire. Sports at 15.
And TSX hits a record. It's up by almost 400 points. Gold futures hit an all-time high, and the Dow jumps by more than 250. Business at 26. 680 News Time, 2:01. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Brandon DuPont.
Thank you very much. This report brought to you by Ecotech Windows and Doors. We do have westbound 401, the collector's ramp to the northbound 410 right lane blocked due to a disabled vehicle. Ramp towards that 40 bound QEW right lane there is blocked due to a stalled vehicle, so shouldn't affect you too much. Still have access to it. Then it is volume delays across your highway routes here, so eastbound 401, seeing that from east of the 427 to the 400 alternately in the express and collectors, and then once you get into Durham, of course, typical spot at Salem, it does slow down. Northbound DVP all jammed up from Don Mills to York Mills, and then you have here along the southbound 404 DVP from approaching Shepherd towards the 401 ramps. Westbound QEW seeing delays from Ford Drive to Trafalgar, then again it bunches up at Appleby. Northbound 427 Dundas to Burnhamthorpe in the express, and then within city streets got a call from a traffic spotter saying Highway 27 and Steeles, it is all working, those traffic lights, so everything clear. However, got another call from a traffic spotter within police on scene, and that of course causing a delay for those traveling southbound along Highway 27. Save up to 50% at Ecotech Windows and Doors. Pay no tax or don't pay till 2026. Quality and comfort you can trust and afford. EcotechWindows.ca. Time for the forecast. Denise Andriachi.
We do have pretty quiet weather right now. Not too much happening on the radar. We had some brief wintry conditions just sort of pass through west, maybe mainly west of the city, but it was so light in nature, and there's nothing showing up at the moment, so that's good. The chance of flurries remains, but we're quiet overnight, a low near zero. Tomorrow up to 2 degrees by the afternoon, but also by noon hour we have more active weather, so probably a bit of mixing and some rain showers and wet flurries that will be mainly west of the city. Right now it's -2, the guaranteed high +1.
680 News Time, 2:03. Crews are in the water in the Washington, D.C. area searching for those who were on board a passenger plane that collided with a helicopter at Ronald Reagan Airport. This as President Donald Trump wastes no time blaming his predecessors and certain programs put in place for the crash. More on that in a moment, but first, with the latest on the crash, 680's Scott Burnett is joining us live. Scott.
Sarah, still plenty of questions surrounding what happened last night when an Army Black Hawk helicopter crashed into an American Airlines flight coming in for a landing at Reagan Airport around 9 p.m. All 64 people on board presumed dead, as are the 3 service members on board the helicopter. 28 bodies so far pulled from the Potomac River, where the fuselage of the plane has been found in 3 pieces. The black box has also yet to be recovered at this point. EMS and disaster physician Dr. Ben Habo describes what recovery crews are dealing with in the freezing waters of the Potomac.
It could be anything from 7 feet down to, I think, 24 and even more feet. You have hypothermia to deal with. You have to have dehydration. Daylight helps with the up-top operation, but not necessarily underwater. Really, it's all the elements coming together in something that's already very technical, very hazardous, and just truly very dangerous.
At the White House today, President Trump offered his condolences to the families and people affected.
As one nation, we grieve for every precious soul that has been taken from us so suddenly. Really, we are in mourning. This is really shaking a lot of people.
Reporting live, I'm Scott Burnett.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump's update on the crash in Washington quickly escalated into him blaming policies of the so-called diversity hires.
Equality And psychological quality is a very important element of it. These are various very powerful tests that we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden. And Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So we don't know, but we do know that you had two planes at the same level. You had a helicopter and a plane. That shouldn't have happened. And we'll see. We're going to look into that. We're going to see.
In his social media post, the former transportation secretary calling Trump's comments despicable. He went on to say that one of Trump's first acts as president was to fire and suspend some of the key personnel who helped keep skies safe. Oh, there's a Canadian connection to the deadly mid-air collision in Washington, and 680's business analyst Chris McCusker has more. The CRJ 700 was built by Quebec-based conglomerate Bombardier in 2010, according to reports. It's considered a workhorse of reach. It's also used by Endeavour Air and GoJet Airlines. Now, the CRJ program was sold in June of 2020 to the Japanese company Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, which no longer makes them but continues to produce parts. This is the only fatality on record involving this plane. I'm Chris McCusker.
Ontario votes 2025.
The work continues to get your vote, with the provincial party leaders making their pitches on day 2 of the election campaign. 680's Charlene Close, keeping an eye on it all, joins us live with more. Charlene. Irene, PC leader Doug Ford visited auto workers in London to start his day. He'll be in Vaughan later this afternoon. He says if re-elected, he will honor the province's commitment to the EV sector, even if the U.S. government scraps its subsidy program.
I'm seeking a mandate, a strong, stable 4-year mandate to do whatever it takes to outlast and outlive the Trump administration, to protect Ontario, to protect Ontario auto workers.
Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie, while opening her campaign headquarters in Mississauga, says Ford is using the Trump tariffs as an excuse to cling to power.
If he were serious about a tariff threat, he'd be at his desk right now, protecting us, coming up with a plan and a strategy.
And while rolling out her bright orange campaign bus in Toronto this morning, NDP leader Marit Stiles talked about supporting the EV sector, but having some concerns about the deal signed by the Ford government with Stellantis and Volkswagen.
I do sense that Doug Ford put a lot of eggs in one basket, and I have some concerns about that. I mean, as we've seen, Doug Ford does not make good deals for Ontario.
Reporting live, I'm Charlene Close. There are some hints of what Canada has planned for retaliating against any U.S. tariffs, and there are calls for Parliament.
Feds are looking at a Canada First procurement strategy, which would restrict American companies from accessing government contracts.
Why don't we look at procurement inside Canada, and why don't we start looking at the industry we'll need?
A source has told me the first 2 rounds of retaliation is worth around $150 billion. A Buy Canadian policy is something NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is calling for, and he demands the Prime Minister bring back the House of Commons early to pass support measures for workers.
They're going to do nothing for these workers for 2 months and just wait till the end of March. I think that is wrong.
However, Minister Champagne suggests they may not need Parliament to help, saying they're looking at using existing programs to provide relief. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Coming up, gas prices. 680 News Time, 2:09.
This portion of 680 News Radio is brought to you by the Monitoring Center. With the risk of break-and-enters and home invasions in the GTA, protecting your home or business is more important than ever. At the Monitoring Center, you can activate...
The price will not change at midnight, staying at $1.55.9 a liter. 680 News Time, 2:10.
With Ford Basics deals like Dempster's Bagels and Bellagio Butter Buns for just $2.47 each, you'll be saving hot diddly wowza! Shop in-store and online until February 5th. Ford Basics, always more for less.
Pure gold costs less than $3,000 an ounce, but 1 ounce of average quality 1-carat natural diamonds are $825,000 an ounce.
Diamonds are sold by weight, carat weight.
When a diamond cutter cuts a diamond, his goal is to maximize the weight, even if it means cutting the diamond improperly.
Trying to maximize the weight, not the beauty.
We do whatever it takes to get first pick of the freshly cut diamonds, the ones cut correctly, and leave the rest behind.
In Vaughan, Scarborough, and Mississauga, Golf Town's annual Re-Grip event is back. Get 40% off golf grips from top brands like Golf Pride, Super Stroke, Lambkin, and more. Get golf ready and save today at one of Golf Town's 48 locations or golftown.com. While supplies last, some exclusions apply.
Time 2:11. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Brandon DeFont.
Thank you very much. This report brought to you by CapitalDirect.ca. We are dealing with westbound 401, this being the ramp to the northbound 410. Right lane still is blocked due to a stalled vehicle. Otherwise, it is mostly about volume delays across your major highway routes at the moment. So you do have here east of the 427 towards the 400, alternately in the Express and Collectors, and then again from Bayview to Leslie in the Express, that one little to no movement happening between it. Then again, once you get into the Durham region, you'll find delays, of course, at Salem. Westbound not westbound on the 401, but northbound DVP, that extremely busy from Don Mills towards York Mills, so that'll take you some time to get through that stretch. Southbound 400, just approaching the 401 ramp, so very minor. Also, so on the southbound 404 from approaching Shepherd towards those 401 ramps. Westbound Gardner, that's really jamming up here from west of Jarvis, westbound QEW, Ford Drive to Trafalgar, then again at Appleby. You also find if you continue going Fort Erie bound along that QEW, it is the East Fairview Street ramp towards that Fort Erie bound QEW where you'll find the right lane blocked due to a disabled vehicle. Delays certainly developing along the northbound 427 from the Gardner towards Burnham Thorpe in the Express, and then the eastbound Gardner, that jams up only as you get through Jameson. Otherwise, quite nice. Got a couple of traffic spotters calling in to us, letting us know southbound Highway 27 at westbound Rutherford. So that right turn lane, if you're going southbound along Highway 27, is blocked, and thus, if you're on the westbound side of Rutherford going through this intersection, you'll find the right lane, of course, blocked there. So again, still crews working on this crash. Take a little, pay a little. A Flexi line by Capital Direct allows you to take only what you want when you want it. Call Capital Direct today at 1-800-NEW-CAPITAL to get your Flexi line. Time for the forecast. Denise Andriachi.
Pretty quiet conditions the rest of this afternoon and evening, aside from a few flurries. Otherwise, it's quiet on the radar right now. We're sitting at -2. It does feel like -7. You want to dress for that wind chill. And we have milder air tomorrow. It's temporary. We also have the chance of some mixing through the afternoon and possibly rain showers. Highs will be around +2, and we're expecting that risk to begin around 11 a.m. to 12 noon. And it does look to stay mainly out of the city center at this point, but we'll keep an eye on that. Tonight's low is near 0.
680 News Time, 2:13. Toronto police looking for a suspect in connection with the string of break-ins in North York. They happened the end of December to the middle of this month. Police say they responded to 3 separate calls in the Keele and Steeles area. The suspect accused of breaking into 3 different car dealerships. A 24-year-old man wanted on several charges. Still to come on 680 News, the day's top stories and sports. This is 680 News.
Linen presents its first ever winter blowout sale with savings up to 75% on millions of dollars of merchandise to liquidate while quantities last. Many items below cost. Duvets at $49.95, all sizes. Pillows starting at $9.95. Sheet sets at $39.95, all sizes. Small electrical starting at $29.95. Glassware sets at $29.95. And coffee machines starting at $59.99. The winter blowout sale is now on at all Linen Chest stores.
Join us to heal the future for 6 treatments or supplies are not necessarily covered by the government, so all money raised goes towards the kids being able to provide support.
Help sick kids heal more futures. Donate today at healthefuture.ca.
Toronto's trusted news. 680 News Radio.
It's cloudy downtown and -1. Good afternoon. I'm Irene Preckless. And I'm Sarah Parris. Here are the top stories this hour. U.S. President Donald Trump among those speaking about the deadly mid-air collision of an American Airlines jet and military helicopter. It happened at Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C. Almost 70 people were killed. Trump, without any evidence, blaming diversity hiring as a possible cause. Back here at home, day 2 of the provincial.
Captains revealed today for the Four Nations Face-Off tournament coming up next month. Sidney Crosby will be Captain Canada with Cale Makar and Connor McDavid, the assistants for the Red and White. Now, Maple Leafs captain Austin Matthews will wear the C for the Stars and Stripes at the Four Nations Face-Off. Matthew Tkachuk of the Panthers and the Bruins, Charlie McAvoy announced as as the assistants. Victor Hedman of the Tampa Bay Lightning will captain Sweden. William Nylander going to be one of his assistants for the Trey Corona, and Alexander Barkov selected to be captain for the Finns. The Maple Leafs with a night off tonight on a busy night in the NHL. Blue and white heading west for a date with the Oilers on Saturday. The Scepters on the pond in Montreal tonight in the PWHL. They look to vanquish the Victoire at 7 from the NBA. No Raptors this evening. They're at home against Chicago tomorrow, but reports from the AP today that NBA veteran Terry Rozier under investigation over claims that he took part in an illegal gambling scheme. This is part of a larger investigation into potential match fixing in sports. Pitch ponderings, Toronto FC running to a 1-1 draw this morning in a friendly with Fredrikstad in Spain. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca.
Do you feel like your debt is out of control? You make payments month after month, yet your debt grows larger and larger. I'm Mike Chanday, a licensed insolvency trustee. I can help you break the chains of debt and be debt-free. Book a free consultation at chanday.ca. Chanday, C-H-A-N-D-E.
The critics are roaring. The Lion King is a smash hit at Toronto's Princess of Wales Theatre. Immerse yourself in the magic of the Pride Land and experience what the CBC declares an epic, visually stunning show that captivates from start to finish. The Lion King. Tickets are now on sale through August 30th. Book at Mirvish.com.
680 News Time, 2:18. Toronto property owners will soon be finding out exactly how much their taxes are going up this year as the budget nears the final process. 680's Melvin Qureshi joins us from City Hall with more.
Earlier this month, Mayor Chow tabling a proposed budget which included a 6.9% property tax hike and millions in investments in the TTC, police, libraries, housing, and more. She then passed it on to the Budget Committee, who listened to deputations from members of the public for weeks on possible changes. But after all of that, the mayor is putting forward a final budget that's pretty much exactly the same, including the property tax hike. Her critics say it should be closer to the rate of inflation, but she disagrees.
We started with $1.2 billion shortfall. Money doesn't come from the sky. It has to come from somewhere. I grew up not very rich at all. Every dollar in our household counts. I'm not going to spend money we don't have.
The only significant change is expanding the property tax relief program for seniors and persons with disabilities. Council will finalize this budget next month. At City Hall, I'm Omen Qureshi.
Coming up in about 60 seconds, we'll see how we're doing on the roads as the commute home from school does start for some. And Denise will have your long-range weather details. It includes the weekend, and we do have some messy weather potential here in the GTA. 680 News Time, 2:20.
The Subaru winter has arrived. The crisp air and negative temperatures mean one thing: camping. Emerge from your icy tent and bask in 4 to 6 hours of sunlight. Enjoy the unmistakable smell of campfire through the glacial wind pummeling your face. Relax by the water, taking